Good morning. My name's Andy, and you join me today in the RS6 driving to the studios. It's going to be a good day today, but what I wanted to do is, as part of this new thing where I'm going to try and put a bit more content out there, I thought my first piece, which is me returning to YouTube after, oh God, it's probably been, I don't know, 2 years since I put a video up. As part of this return is all about kind of like the sort of things I get up to, and I thought that today I would just do it about what do I do, what does Andy Harris do, what is my actual job. So job wise, it's hard to explain what I actually do. Bear with me. In fact, what I do, actually what I've just done there kind of is one of the things that I do, which is I provide safety support for people doing filming involving cars and motorbikes and planes and things like that. So I just thought to myself then, that's me doing a piece to camera, PTC, when you're talking to the camera, and actually concentrating on the road at the same time. Sorry, I digress. What do I do? So my role is kind of split into a couple of things. The longest role that I've had is where I am the CEO, owner, founder, whatever you want to call it, of a company called MSS. And MSS, which actually stands for Motorsport Safety Solutions, has been around for almost 20 years and provides ambulances and firefighters and safety advisors and coordination for events. So whether that's ambulances to British Touring Car Championships, whether that's safety advisors to race circuits, film sets, all that sort of stuff. So that side of the business, MSS, that's what it does. You might have heard of it, because we're kind of out and about across everywhere. But I've got an amazing team at MSS, and they do their thing, and that's great. It then leaves me to do my thing. So what is my thing? My thing is called the Car Filming Safety Guy, which you might have seen on Instagram and also on YouTube. And it's a brand that's just me, and what it is where I work globally helping clients do cool stuff on camera and events, but almost 90% of the time involving cars, planes, motorbikes, things that have got engines and move. And that can range from, what have we done? Shut down the streets of Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip, for Mad Mike from Red Bull to do McLaren drift car through the streets of Las Vegas. I've done fly out to Australia and done road closures in Australia for Bentley to do films. I've done safety and stunt coordination for some massive projects. I've got a project coming up soon for Red Bull F1 team that is huge and is absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud of it. So it's kind of, I think the best way to explain it is people come to me, clients, and these are massive clients. I'm, so lucky that I've got these colossal clients like Bentley, Castrol, Formula One, McLaren. These are like massive brands, and they come to little old me and say, Andy, we want to do this, but it's dangerous. How can we do it, and how can we make it safe? And I will then take over and run that project. And it's in a role where, yes, technically I am there as a safety advisor. However, what I am more involved in is the actual production of how it is done, the creative input of it, lots and lots of stuff. And that's what I absolutely love. So a client will come to me and they will say, look, we've got this car, we want to do a film with it doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I'll then use my background in cars. I've been racing all this year, and I rallied years ago, and I've been involved in track days and all sorts of motorsport events for the last 20, probably 30 years now. But what I do is I use all that experience and knowledge that I've got in saying to the client, okay, well that car is rear wheel drive, so why don't we do a scene where it does this, and then your brand is known for comfort, so let's then cut to a bit of someone inside the car where it's nice and quiet and comfortable, and so it's kind of like a lot of it is where I'll have a lot of involvement in the creative input of it all, which I absolutely love. So yeah, that's kind of what the Car Film and Safety Guy does, and it's a separate brand to MSS. MSS is obviously has got lots of people working for it, but what I quite like is the fact that there is a separate brand in Car Film and Safety Guy that's just me, because deep down, and I'm quite open about this with lots of people, I don't actually like running a business. I never intended to run a business. And MSS is now a business that's been around for nearly 20 years. It's got employees, contractors, tax, rent, loans, all the stuff which you would associate with running a business. And bear with me, get onto the motorway. I absolutely hate it. Really hate it. So, yeah, it's just nice to have this spin-off brand. Oh yes, here we go. Bear me 2 seconds. We're going to unleash the RS6 when it is safe to do so. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I don't know if you could hear that, but yeah. God, we're going to segue massively now because I'm in my happy zone. I got an RS6 on the motorway. I'm just going to talk very quickly about the RS6, right? For those of you who don't know what they are, it's a family estate car that's an Audi A6. However, the engine that's in the RS6 is it's the same engine as a Lamborghini Urus and Lamborghini, is it Huracan engine? I can't remember. It's the V8, but they put it in a saloon car, and it's just hilarious. Yeah, sorry, back to what we were talking about. Yes, so running the business and the spin-off company, Car Film and Safety Guy. Car Film and Safety Guy is great. It's just me. There's no one to let me down. Not saying that people do let me down, but when you run a business, your vision, no one will ever totally understand your full vision with what that company is. So it's just quite nice having a separate company that's just me doing my thing that I enjoy, really. And there's many other reasons why, which I'll go into one day. I am going to do a podcast one day, actually, on, we'll say a podcast, actually, like a, what do we call this, a vlog? Is a vlog still a thing? I don't know if people still call it a vlog, whatever they call it. I'm going to do a thing talking to you about business, what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, which is shitloads, how you do it. I just set up a business, it just happened. How I did it, I have no idea. It shouldn't really work. And now here I am 18 years later with probably, I don't know, 15 million of turnover behind me. I'm not a millionaire, by the way. I'm a multi-millionaire. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not a millionaire. Just because I turn over millions. Wait there. Just because I turn over millions does not mean that I am wealthy, because unfortunately the way that tax works, that's not how it really works, unfortunately. But no, where were we? God, we started talking about RS6s and they went downhill from there. Where were we? That's it. MSS and businesses and Car Film and Safety Guy. So yeah, so where do I see Car Film and Safety Guy going? The plan is for it never to actually go anywhere other than just being me. There isn't a growth plan, there is no strategy, because that's the whole point of it. It's just me as a individual person doing my thing, and that's kind of what I like. It's when it's just you. Some people, when they set up a business, they want to employ loads of people, and you know, and that's kind of where I've been with assets and people and employees and managers. And I kind of, over the last few years, I've downsized it a bit. So MSS is kind of, what is it, about 8 staff now, and about 60 contractors, and it just keeps it a little bit more manageable, and just a bit more easy, really. So Car Film and Safety Guy is just going to be me. But I'm very lucky in the fact that I've got so many of these clients. One of my worries, I think, really is, it's not so much a worry because I know that no one else can do it, but one of my worries is that people will try and replicate what I do, and loads of people have tried to replicate MSS. 9 times out of 10 it fails. No one's ever totally been able to replicate it, but the separate brand, the spin-off brand, which is just me, I'm very fortunate that there's not really anyone else in the world that does it to the levels that I do it, to the confidence levels that I have in that subject as well. Now, what's interesting is my day rate, if you want me to come in and work with you and, you know, have the creative input and the experience and bring on the contacts that I've got onto your project and do something in some weird and wonderful country around the world, my day rate is a lot. It's a lot of money, and I appreciate it's a lot of money. And my clients, some of my clients are totally fine with it. They're like, Andy, we know that no one else can do what you can do. We're paying for your 30 years experience in the motorsport and automotive sector. We know that your insurance is not cheap. They're fine with it. Other clients, I won't say which type of clients, but it's a certain sector that I work for, absolutely hate it. They really hate it because my rate is more than they're on. But that's not my problem. The value I put on myself and the experience I've got in my subject and the value I can bring is massive, and no one else can bring that value in the world that I know of. And I think I can confidently say that because I work in Australia. I work in, there's a lorry just pulled out that shouldn't be in the fast lane, doesn't have an indicator, and over 7.5 ton vehicles are not allowed to be in the fast lane of the motorway. But it's got quite a cool private plate on it. It's pulled over. So yeah, it's all these clients around the world will come to me, and it's not because I've marketed myself that way. It's because I've done a good job for this person. Say it's Monster Energy, for example, who is an amazing client to have, by the way. Monster Energy, they are just so cool to work with because their ideas that they want to do and their projects they do, and also I think deep down as well, they are, I don't know how Monster does it, but when you work for Monster Energy, you give them exactly what they want, you never say no, you always help them. But working for Monster, they have this thing within their organisation, it's almost like, it is, I know this is a cliche, right? It is genuinely like a family at Monster. They are just so good to their suppliers, to their team. They look after them so well. And things like, I can go to the British Grand Prix, make a couple of phone calls, and then someone at Monster, I'm not saying who, but I don't want you guys to have his name, because that's part of my contacts list. But I can then get tickets to Lando Norris's private friends and family hospitality. It's just bonkers. So yeah, working Monster is pretty cool. And it's the same with Red Bull as well. Red Bull are equally, they're two very different companies. They run things very differently. Monster does lots and lots of small stuff. Red Bull does a small amount of big stuff. So that's where they're different. And here's the thing, so many people have asked me, who do you like working for the most, Monster or Red Bull? And I genuinely can't decide because they're both so cool to work for, and I'm lucky that both of them let me work for the other one, if you see what I mean. But no, back to the subject. Yes, if I'm working with someone from Monster, then someone from Monster in another country might then recommend me for something, and that's kind of how it gets me around the world doing all these different things. What is the coolest job I have done? I think it's really difficult to kind of put it into words. I mean, I've done some things where I felt accomplishment. So there was a film series on Apple TV years ago called Masters of the Air. It's like the biggest, I think it's the biggest TV production of all time. Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks. Rumour has it there was a 400 million budget. That project for me was 2 years. I worked on it for 2 years. 2 years of my life. The effort I put into that and to make that project work. You know, when you have a production of that scale, it was just, if you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it, because it's just epic. But yeah, just massive, absolutely huge. So when I finished that, I felt massive accomplishment, and I was massively proud of that because I did that myself. I ran that from scratch myself. Apple Apple TV gave me full control over how I ran the safety teams for it, which was amazing. So I felt accomplishment on that. But then I've done other jobs, like I did a job for my friend Donald. He works for Castrol, and he got me on a project for Castrol with Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, and then we also had Chris Bush, the NASCAR driver, and what's he called? Keselowski. Is it Ryan? Anyway, Keselowski, the NASCAR driver. We're out in Charlotte Speedway. I love NASCAR. I love America. We were in Charlotte Speedway in the US, in North Carolina, with F1 drivers in NASCAR, and it was just so cool. We were taken around the factory, treated like, you know, so well. Business class flights, absolutely amazing. Yeah, so jobs like that are cool. Some of the jobs, like the job I did for Red Bull, probably at the start of 2025, that was we had the race between Red Bull's, was it Dakar bike and car, and we had like Nanny Romo's, like this famous Dakar driver. We had the Red Bull NASCAR driver. We had their World Rally Championship driver. We had Mad Mike in the drift car. We had, I can't remember the name of the MotoGP rider, and we had Max Verstappen in an F1 car, all raced each other together at the same time down a massive runway. And it wasn't a normal runway, it was Salzburg International Airport, which is just like, somehow I managed to liaise with them, with the production team, and talk them into letting us shut down Salzburg International Airport for an afternoon. So yeah, when you have things like that, days where you're on the start line calling 3, 2, 1 action, and action in Max Verstappen and all those other people, gosh, just like a massive buzz. So jobs like that are cool. I don't know, there's just so many projects that I do that I just am very lucky to do, and that's kind of why I'm sure you can understand why I prefer doing the car film and safety guy stuff as opposed to MSS, which is basically running a business. But that's the thing, some people like running a business, some people like to be a business owner or a CEO or an MD or whatever they call themselves, and have an email signature and kind of employ people and king of the castle, do this, you know when Borat does that thing, king of the castle. That is not what I like to do. My email signature doesn't have that I'm the owner of the company. I keep that quite discreet sometimes because I'm not egotistical. I don't need to tell people that I own the business, that blah blah blah. I've had people before ask me how long have I worked for MSS, which is interesting. Way up, there's a massive blooming police presence down here. There's a load of police cars facing the wrong way. What's going on here? Bear with me a second. How strange. There's a load of police cars pulled over a moped or something, but I've got no idea why. Might have to. Am I allowed to? Yeah, I'm allowed to film actually, aren't I? There's me asking if I'm allowed to film. It's what I do for a job. Of course I'm allowed to film. The camera is in a locked position. It's secured to an anchor point within the car. I'm not distracted from driving. I'm facing forward at all times, only looking back at the camera sometimes, which I'm sure you will have seen. Let's just get past here. Yeah, how peculiar. Right, sorry, back to the script. Yes, so as I say, I'm very lucky to do the stuff that I do as car film and safety guy. And what's interesting is with the name, the car film and safety guy, it is not car film and safety guys, it's not car film and safety guy, it is the car film and safety guy. There is only one of them, and that's me. And that was kind of part of the idea that I had when I thought it up. Because if anybody wants to take that company on, try and do what I do, what they're going to call themselves, the other car film and safety guy. No, this is my train set, I run this. So yeah, that's where we are with that. Right, I'm almost at work now. I have about an hour journey to work. I live about an hour away from the studios that MSS Safety is currently based in, and I'm almost there. So to round up, that's what I do. I get to do cool projects and bring them together and bring all my contacts from around the world onto cool things. It's basically a client wants to do something cool, an event or some online content, branded content, a film, F1 movie for example. F1 movie, worked on it for a year. They wanted me to run the tracks and to kind of look after and coordinate all of the track safety and the legalities behind the track, the compliance, the safety, the camera systems. How do we do all this? So that was another prime example of a project. Did I enjoy working on that project? That is for another time. We'll go into that another time. There's a bit of a story behind it. But anyway, for today, I think let's call a wrap on that. Hopefully that's explained who am I, what do I do, and it's given you a bit of behind the scenes on who I am and what I do. What I'm also going to do as part of my YouTube channel is I'm also going to explain a bit about my background as well at some stage, because my background you may find interesting, you may not find this interesting. If you got this far, well done. But my background is also, I don't know, might not be what you've actually thought my background is. I haven't come from any money or anything. I've had to build everything from scratch. I don't have any qualifications or exams. I didn't really go to school much. So there'll be another, something, I don't know, you might find it interesting, chat about, BMW M3 Touring. Oh no, M3 Coupe. That's cool. So yeah, there'll be a bit of a chat about that as well. Right, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope if you're still here, again, well done. And why not join me next week for more YouTube videos? Well, I'm not going to be saying hi guys, so don't worry about that. The other thing is, as I hope you've realised, there is nothing edited here. It is just quite simply the first take. I press action on the camera and I record. I'm not going to cut out things that have gone wrong or re-edit it or kind of, I don't know, make it look shiny. It's just going to be very basic, back to basic. This is what I'm up to. This is what the chat is going to be about. So hope that's of interest, and thank you very much for viewing. What do I get out of this? I don't know. Just hope people might find it of use, really. I think ultimately everybody wants to help people, don't they? And I just like to give people a bit of, interest, a bit of content, something to look at. They might find it interesting, and just go through stuff. Hello, swipe card, garage up, there you go. Right, I'm at work now, time to go. Have fun. See you on the next one.